Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I'm Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron.
What's happening?
Back in the studio. Well, I say with us, with you, Ferris, not with me. I'm still in Connecticut. But Ron, back from his world travels, and tonight's jam-packed Brewtiful Game podcast, we're going to be discussing another fun match between Man City and Chelsea, as the current champ needed a late goal to pull out a draw, and Blake was rooting for the Blues like he'd never done before. And then
which Blue?
Me and Tony sounds good. We're doing the same thing. Then we're going to discuss the big wins by Liverpool and Arsenal, as currently first in the table and third in the table respectively, end up gaining points on Man City, as Man City just beat Brentford yesterday.
Just yesterday.
Just yesterday. Okay, yeah.
But they obviously drew with the Blues on.
Boom, 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 boom. And then we're going to blow the halftime whistle that Blake forgot to download. So Ron, you're on that. There you go. You got to do it on your side.
Oh, there you go.
And then we are going to, I love it. I intentionally don't read these. We'll blow the halftime whistle as the investigator of the IBUs and the Arnest of the ABV, the Ron, shares with us all the news that's fit to drink and another new edition of Ron's Beer News. Ding, 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 ding. And finally, we're going to close out the pod with our 2024 MLS preview. Mr. Matt Call texted me today going, MLS is back! Getting excited. We'll let you know how the U.S. women's national team did, kicking off the CONCACAF Women's Gold Cup in the American Soccer edition of the La Liga's Roundup. That's on you, Ron. There you go. Thank you. Coming in clutch.
So I think it's supposed to say arsonist, and I don't know what word I spelled, but
oh, the arsonist of the ABV. I thought it was a word I didn't know. I'm not going to say
it.
It's a word I don't know.
It wasn't a word I don't think anybody knew, but apparently Google knew it because it didn't like spell check me.
Well, that was the thing. It didn't have a spell check. I was like, oh, maybe something I don't know. I want to roll with it. Is this coming? I thought maybe it was some kind of sausage I didn't know about that you had discovered.
That's fair enough.
Oh, man. Speaking of sausages, guys, that German place I told you we found up here, had to go again. That joint's dangerous. It's so good. A little East Side restaurant. Oh, it's in the middle of a neighborhood. It's all houses. And then one house is a German restaurant. Oh, it's so great.
That's awesome.
That's great.
So good. I went there and was able to catch a little bit of Bundesliga while I was there.
Heck yeah.
So speaking of beer, shall we talk about the beer for this episode? Which you gents got over there in Orlando?
Well, it's not German. Kind of is German. Kind of. The brewery is not. The brewery is in New Orleans, and we have a Mardi Gras.
Aye.
So the feet aren't going to fail us now, as we are going to have Velvet Voodoo, a dark lager from Faubourg Brewing. I think I said that right.
Yeah. Faubourg.
Faubourg Brewing. It's so funny on their site at faubourgbrewing.com. The first thing it says is, y'all lost?
That's hilarious.
And I can't tell if it's because like something timed out and that's kind of like their way of putting it, but it's hysterical. But anyways, over in their kind of about section, they say, gather around, y'all, let's have a beer. What a joy it is to call New Orleans home, where every unique neighborhood, our Faubourg, as we like to say, adds its own spice to the pot we all share. At Faubourg Brewing Company, we're here to bring people together, celebrate what makes us unique, and raise a glass to toast everything we have in common. Cheers to all the Faubourgs that thread this wild and beautiful place together. So I guess they started off as a place called Dixie Brewing, and the name now. They've been a part of the New Orleans story for about 115 colorful years and counting. Go to again their site, faubourgbrewing.com, for the full story. And in terms of the beer, Mardi Gras, really cool can art on it with this. What is like a cobra snake kind of wrapped around some skulls and some Mardi Gras looking old buildings and some
that's cool.
Black, dark pink, red. And their their logo for the brewery is the Florida Leaf, or what's that thing called?
Yeah, the Florida Leaf.
Florida
Yeah.
Leaf.
Florida Leaf, but the top of it is like a hop.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So it is a Dunkin' style dark lager, Velvet Voodoo. Rich, malty, and smooth with a surprisingly sensible, food-friendly profile. It's 5.5 on the old ABVs and 22 on the old IBUs. Velvet Voodoo is a rich and malty dark lager crafted in the traditions of the great German Dunkels that it inspired by it. This velvety, smooth brew balances 5 premium roast barley malts with Mount Hood hops. The result is a dark, mysterious brew known for its bewitching character and magical spirit. Surprisingly light-bodied, Velvet Voodoo is a great session beer that is guaranteed to leave you spellbound.
I am already.
And then you can this is kind of cool. You can find this beer. You can click the link to download an Excel file of Velvet Voodoo placements in stores, restaurants, and bars. How cool is that? Get yourself a nice Excel file on where you can find this beer.
Snaz.
And it's available in six pack, 12-ounce cans to go, and then on draft. So cool. Dunkin' style dark lager for Mardi Gras. I don't know why I feel like I have to say it like that every time.
Laissez-les bon temps rouler. Because
Did you say so?
you got to, man. We're professional Mardi Gras at this point.
Yeah, right.
Well, I am going to make Ron wish that he were over here right now. As good as your beer may be. I am going to go local again. Another place. I didn't know what Thomastown. I think it's Thomaston, Connecticut. See, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Is but a scant 23 minutes from here. It looks like a little southwest of me. It's supposed to be 20 degrees this Saturday, so maybe that's a good outing for the day instead of going out and doing any hiking this weekend. But it's a place called Clocktown Brewery or Brewing Company, located in Thomaston, Connecticut. Offers a range of the finest craft beers in all styles, complemented by a full bar, pizza restaurant within. Spacious tap room quickly become a local hotspot. They invite you to stop by our family-friendly facility for a flight or a bite, or to enjoy many of our live events. So why are they called Clocktown? Well, this is cool. The Seth Thomas Clock Factory is the building they're located in, and it's this cool old building from 1853. The company's from crafting the finest clocks to crafting the finest beers. Our brewery was the original location of the renowned Seth Thomas Clock Company factory. From 1853, the company was one of the most prolific clockmakers in the country for many years. Over time, seconds slowed and the factory fell silent, but that is until 2020, when Clocktown Brewing Company opened its doors and brought new life to the old building. Visit our tap room and take a moment to admire the historic wonders of the former clock factory. This would be the third relatively new brewery that I met the guy who started one. The other two, they opened in like pandemic. Like they literally opened in like February of 2020. You're like, whoa! Like, yeah, and it's
what a time to open.
Right. And it's pretty rad. That Arsenal one I told you about, the Cannon, that's the Arsenal pub that's down in New Haven, Connecticut. That's one of them too. Yeah, it's kind of wild. So I have got their, let me pull up their information on this on their site. They have a really great site for being able to check the information on their beer. I have got a beer that is a 5-time award-winning beer. It is their Kaplow Belgian Triple Decker.
Oh,
look at that. Isn't that cool?
So this is a Belgian triple, 5-time award-winning beer inspired by the beers of Belgium. The triple comes in at 9% ABE, despite the alcohol content, and is incredibly drinkable, fruity, spicy, and peppery, with a slight dry finish and some alcohol sweetness. Easy to forget how strong this baby is, so take it one at a time. And for the 5-time award winners, it's great. If you go at the bottom of their beer list, it actually shows you different competitions like the USA Beer Ratings, the U.S. Open Beer Championship, the Connecticut Craft Beer Grand Prix, the Great International Beer Cider Mead and Soccer Competition, or soccer, and cider and sake competition. Then there's like a Reader's Choice Award. They've got North American Brewers Association, the Beer Connoisseur, and all their different beers are listed when they would have won things under each one. So this triple decker got silver medal in USA Beer Ratings in 2023. In 2023, it also won a bronze medal at the U.S. Beer Open. In 2022, it won the silver medal for the U.S. Beer Open. And then the beer, was there another one? And then the beer connoisseur. The other one that almost made it on tonight, what I'm going to have to get is their Thomaston Lager, which is rated 91 out of 100, and their Time Fly is 94 out of 100. Two other different beers I'm going to have to snag.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean,
Quite a decent brewery.
yeah, two have been open since 2020, and they have really cool can art. Like their art is really cool. But I'm stoked for this. I saw this. My wife was like, "Hey, I haven't seen this brewery. I'm at the grocery store. Check. You want me to snag one of these?" And I was like, "Oh, get that triple. Bring that on over."
Heck yeah.
All right,
Awesome, man.
gents.
Nice short drink triples.
Amen to that. I know I haven't had a triple in a long time. Shall we do this?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Oh man, Ron, this smells so good, dude. Not quite as honeyfied as that one that we made,
Right.
but it's definitely got that like crisp, like honey note on it. Oh man.
Look at this head.
Mm-hmm.
Crushed it.
Yes,
Perfection.
indeed. You and me both. Mardi Gras.
We got to isolate that.
It's as Blake knows, it is quite common right now in my work world. What?
Oh, yeah.
Mardi Gras.
All right, gents.
Shall we?
This looks so triply. Look at this, Ron.
Ooh,
Oh,
that's a lovely color.
Cheers. Oh.
Show me your. This is good.
God, give me them beads, baby. Ooh. God almighty. I was not expecting
quite
that.
tasty.
Ron and I looked up at each other. We're like, that was really good.
It's
man.
It's a little more for a dark lager, it's a little heavy on the bitter in the back, and it's a little more bready, biscuity than you would expect.
When it says a Dunkel, was it Dunkel lager? Dunkel dark lager?
Yeah.
It's what it says. You get a little bit of the Dunkel notes there, but you get that kind of crisp finish like a lager.
Yeah.
Wild.
But
So good.
a bit more bitter.
Yes, a bit more, yeah.
But it's also got like, is that caramel at the end?
Caramel, like a toffee note.
Yeah.
Yep. Quite good. Like I don't think I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. I don't know why, but
You guys both got slapped in the face by a good beer.
yeah. And we got beads.
This is really good. This is it's not quite as crisp as like a Carmelite, but it's really good. And it's not bottle conditioned. I guess I'm used to that too. Most triples I've had would be bottle conditioned, right? And this is out of the can. In fact, I don't think I've ever had a triple out of the can before
I mean, that's pretty rare.
that I can think of. Yeah, I'm sure there's more folks doing it now. But Clocktown Brewing, 23 minutes away, says their pizza's really tasty. I think that's gonna happen. I'll give you guys a live report from the location.
Please do. A lot of places up there. There's a lot of good breweries attached to like a pizza place. What was it a few years back? I was in Burlington, Vermont, and oh Lord, I can't remember the place, but man, that great pizza, good beer,
So
awesome.
something I discovered very quick, and I'm sure anybody that's listening from Connecticut will know exactly what I'm talking about. But you like meet someone, they're like, "Oh, you just moved here? Where from?" And you just tell them where you've come up from. Like, okay, awesome. So, right, our pizza is way better than New York's. Like, that's like everybody's like main thing. And I guess like some folks really like this. This New Haven pizza is supposed to be this place of like the original Connecticut pizza. I don't know. I got to go. Obviously, I have to go there and try it. But they're very proud of their pizza here. I will say, it does not disappoint so far.
That's all. So this was Fiddlehead Brewery, in Burlington, Vermont. I could not think of the name, so I wanted to be sure that I re-shouted them out because that was damn good. I'm sorry, it was Fiddlehead Brewery. great, good pizza. So that must be like everywhere up there.
Heck yeah,
Pizza,
dude.
beer, good, just simple, good combo.
Keep it simple. A lot of wood fire pizza too in places.
Yes. I think theirs was that as well. Yep.
All right, Ron, do you have a ceremonial quote from Ray Hudson to get us started off for the soccer talk?
I do. And it is Ray Hudson celebrating a Chelsea player who scored a goal.
Oh, that's a rarity nowadays. I'm joking.
However, this was said in a previous, like a couple of years ago, not for this year, but it's a good one to pull out and dust off because this person scored in our Manchester City match. This quote from Ray Hudson about one Sterling.
Oh, Raheem
Sterling. This is a gangster goal from them, and he's them that's holding the revolver.
That's a great quote.
Yeah.
This is a gangster goal from them, and it's him that's holding the revolver.
Yeah. So the build up.
Where does he get these things from?
I don't know, but the build up in the play gets Raheem Sterling the ball, who clinically finishes it.
Very good finishing in this game.
And so I'm stealing that quote from a game from a long time ago and putting it into this Manchester City match.
Very relative to this match.
There you go.
Well, I was going to say that is a good segue into our first match as Chelsea continue their good form, but couldn't quite hold on as a late Rodri goal gains a point for Pep and Man City as they both walk away 1-1. Ended up being another thrilling match between Chelsea and Man City. This time, the City's former player and Raheem Sterling kicked off the affair in the 42nd minute of play with a lovely slotted goal in, which he turned Kyle Walker inside out in the box. In the second half, however, the relentless pressure from City proved too much for Chelsea as once again, a big goal by Rodri helped Man City to snatch a point away from Chelsea 1-1. Are a little chinks in the armor here for Man City?
I mean...
Or is it kind of what we talked about in the last pod, that like they just don't feel they're great. They just don't have that whatever extra level of polish that makes it seem untenable.
I think it's that they don't feel as ruthless this year as they have in previous years, but they are still grinding out ways to get points, even though it's ugly and maybe not the best football. And you're starting to see this season, you're seeing some otherwise locked up veterans making interesting choices, getting caught out. Kyle Walker getting turned inside out throughout this entire match. And then when he didn't get a penalty, he pulled his best Buster Keaton routine and did that fish flop all over the field.
That was a meme that everybody's putting out there.
That's a good Buster Keaton reference. I don't know. It's been a while since we had one of those.
Yeah, you're welcome. But I don't think it's that much the weakness of City. They're still grinding out ways to get points. It's just not what we're used to seeing from them.
Well, like Holland, right? Holland not as just not as aggressive this year on the scoring as he was. I know there was an injury, but like it's just a little. Well, the sad thing is, it's like, man, they're not at 100%. They're like 99.2. Like that's the frustrating thing.
It's exactly that, right? I mean, Holland scored 2 the game before. He scored 1 on Tuesday, so it's not like he's not scoring. He's only played a few games back, but it's also in comparison to what the rest of the title challengers are doing, right? You have Arsenal going out and beating teams in the past few weeks 4-0, 5-0, 6-0. You have Liverpool 4-1 the other day, 4-1 again today. If chinks in the armor are a 1-1 draw from City and a 1-0 win, the armor's not getting very dented at the moment.
No, but just like that one
kind of thrown at you of, okay, this is just kind of annoying right now, but we'll see if they kick on from here because they're still picking up some points. They haven't really lost all 3 points yet in a match, but it just in comparison, I think, is what it gives that kind of overall thought that, hey, are the wheels starting to come off here a bit?
Also, if you look at the teams they drop points to, November 12th, they drew with Chelsea in a 4-4 barn burner. Then the next week on the 25th, Man City drew Liverpool. Then they drew Tottenham. Then they lost to Villa on like the last chance goal from Villa. And then they drew Crystal Palace and now drew Chelsea. So, they're, with the exception of Palace, they're dropping points to some relatively decent teams. Chelsea, I think, is just finding their form. I wouldn't go so far as saying that they're a decent team, but again, I just think that they're just grinding out ugly football games and getting points.
Yeah, and they're still the bookies' favorites to win the league. So it's not like, it's
They still have a game in hand.
I think they're even now, right?
No. Oh, well,
even now because of their Tuesday match. Well, I guess Liverpool played today, so now
yeah. That's
but,
what I was looking
yeah.
at. Yeah, that's what's throwing me off. Yeah, Liverpool played. So yes, you are correct. They are even now.
Yep. So we'll talk about it here in a second. We talk about Liverpool and Arsenal and their wins, but instead of what City's used to of one other team kind of contending them, they now have two other teams, and maybe that adds another mind trick into it a bit. Hey, we just came off the treble. We have to try to keep this up. We have some new players in that are hungry that want to continue this going. But now we have not just one that's, we have to chase down this time, but we have two that are one ahead of us and one behind us that we have to kind of factor in and get ahead of both of them. So,
and this is probably the fourth match for Chelsea all season where they honestly played their hearts out for 90 minutes. And for most of the first half and a bit of the second half, they were the better team. Nicholas Jackson, I was absolutely gobsmackingly surprised.
He played well.
This is probably the best game he's played.
Same with Enzo Fernandez, actually. Played a very good game. Did a lot of work off the ball and stuff, too. So, yeah.
9 points separate Chelsea from Man United. Can they catch up?
No.
I mean, you guys both have the same goal differential at this point. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I don't think so. I think it's a little late in the game, but anything can happen.
All right, Brighton and Newcastle. I mean, I know Brighton had recently had a better one, but I don't know. There's just some clubs above you. You could. I kind of thought Chelsea was going to sit bottom half or 10th at most, but that might not be the case.
I think it's a good season if we stay in the top 10. If we get to 9th, it'll be
top 10. Heck yeah,
it'll be way better than what most of us expected.
Yes,
right. Maybe not what we wanted, but what we expected
after the first handful of games.
Yeah, and
in this, I really think if Chelsea had better stamina, and the substitutions that were made came on with pace and energy, it is possible that Chelsea could have won this match. But those 3 subs came on. They're very flat, didn't get in the game very much. Nkunku was not threatening at all. So I think we could have stood a chance, but our fitness, just wasn't at the same level as City's.
Are you saying their feet let them down?
I think their feet failed them.
Failed them now. That's correct. That is correct answer for $500.
I mean, I guess the tough thing is like more of, and this is probably a later pod for the question for a later pod in the season, but like, if you start to click, this would be where you go, oh man, a couple of moves and you could put together the right team next year. But like, I don't know, it's still so shaky. We don't understand what's going on with the whole financial fair play and where Chelsea sits. Like, can they do that? And I'm literally asking the question out of, I'm not I'm not sure. It's going to be a really weird end of this season going into next. I think there's a chance you could go into the summer signings and teams may not even know what's going on and who they can or can't. I don't know. This is wild.
Well, from a Chelsea standpoint,
They have to sell before they can buy.
Conor Gallagher is still on the block to be sold, but he's arguably our best player, second best player under Cole Palmer. But he's pulling a lot of strings and really holding that midfield together while Fernandez and Caicedo get their legs back up under them. So he's one that I think he's also a homegrown player. So if they sell him, it's pure profit to help them with the financial fair play rules. But I think most Chelsea fans don't want him to get sold because he is holding us together. Another two people that they're looking to get offers from or offers for, Reece James, because he is completely injury prone and having his money off the books would help a lot. But then his replacement, they were also talking about selling, which is Malo Gusto, who had an incredible game during Aston Villa, had an incredible game this week against City. So right now, it kind of seems like we're turning into Southampton, who have they get a whole bunch of good players and then they sell them off.
Far from that, but
no,
I mean, that's the way it looks like.
But I understand what he's saying because it's not like something you can fix in a season. And the players you just mentioned, you're not going to get a lot of good money for him. Even Gallagher, people know that Chelsea has to sell.
You'll get the British premium on him.
Sure.
Reece James, you're not going to get for what you probably when he's super fit and playing would get. Most teams probably aren't going to try to touch him at this point just because he can't stay fit. But it still comes down to they have to sell before they can buy anything more at this point because, in fairness, they've had a spending spree for the past year and a half. That's now kind of caught up to them along with losses that have put them in.
Well, they got to get ready. They got to get ready for next year to face Man United's Thomas Tuchel.
Right?
Give me a break.
I could.
He's not coming. Ridiculous. Somebody pulled it out of their ass report. Like, come on, that's not actually happening.
Ron sent us something. Where did you find it, Ron?
Gold.com.
Oh, yeah. And they were saying that Tuchel wanted the Man United gig.
Yeah, Tuchel may want that job. Man United don't want him.
What?
Indians don't want him. So Sir Ratcliffe don't want him. Sir Jim Brailsford don't want him.
Well, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Oh, yeah, well. Those doors are closed at Thomas Tuchel, I'll tell you that much. Hey, listen, as 7% shareholder, I have a say in this.
0.07%, right?
No. Yeah, it's 0.007. I own 7 shares. So
right. I was going to say, you don't own 7%.
That's probably they add a lot more zeros after decimal onto that for the amount of actual club that I own.
Ron, we need to buy some shares so we can vote Tuchel in.
I know, right?
Ensure our season.
Still not buying. Hey, listen, if it took what's his name, some Ratcliffe to buy what 25% of the club for like $300 million, good luck with that investment.
Oh, right. Well, speaking of money and investments, Liverpool and Arsenal, they produced big wins prior to Man City's match to heap pressure on the champs. First up, it was Liverpool who kicked off the weekend with a very solid 4-1 win over Brentford on the road at the Gretsch Community Stadium. And Brentford had a much tougher match, or Man City had a tougher match against Brentford by far than Liverpool had against Brentford.
The what stadium?
At I said Gretsch. You know why I said Gretsch? It's a guitar brand. So when I saw the G-Tech, my brain turned it into Gretsch guitars. Gotcha. G-Tech Community Stadium, which I also have a hard time saying because I'm from North Carolina and we would always play against Georgia Tech in college. So whenever I see G-Tech, it throws me off. A goal again from Nunez, won by Alexis Mac-Mount.
Yeah, no, I definitely that was supposed to. The X is supposed to be there, and the S is supposed
Alexis Mac Allister. There you go. That's a really tongue twister. 9% IBV, guys. One of the returning Salah and the fourth by Cody Gakpo were more than enough to stay atop of the table. The next up, from the 4th minute to the 78th, it was all Arsenal, as once again the Gunners demolished the team, this time Burnley by a big score line, 5-0. Burnley, they gone. Goals from Odegaard, 2 from Saka, 1 from Trossard, and the last by Kai Havertz saw Arsenal come to insert themselves in the title race as they have outscored opponents 21-2 in their last 5 matches in the league. And I think, believe it or not, I think Raya might have the most clean sheets right now.
He didn't today, but
He didn't. Isn't that bonkers? Like, that's such a weird situation still. So it's pretty evident we have a 3-headed race for the title, but do you foresee either or both of these clubs finishing above Man City in the league by the end of the season? Yeah, I could see Liverpool doing it.
Yeah, I think Liverpool could take the league, and that it's going to be Man City, Arsenal trying to clean up for that, second, third spot.
Because here's the thing, like Arsenal, they need to win out, and the other team's got to screw up, right? That's kind of where they're sitting at. I mean, Arsenal they beat Man City, they've beaten Liverpool, but they need the other teams to mess up, right? And they have to run, and pick up points if they drop. I think this is more Liverpool's power to control right now.
I still think it's hard to bet against Man City at the current time. Like I said,
but I love doing it.
Bookies have them as their favorites, and that they're not ahead, and they still have to chase. Proved them obviously well last year. I just think they're in a precarious situation, but they have people fit. Arsenal had really no injury concerns this season at all, and they keep continuing the form they're on. They're going to catch up to these guys and make it a lot tighter, if not nip ahead of them. Liverpool, I think, will be okay, but some injuries in the game that they played here. Yes, they got a 4-1 win, but Jota went out injured, will be out for a while, and he was kind of their poacher off the bench, could start and score a goal, come off the bench and score a goal, kind of that type. Salah's back, so will help. No Alisson in goal. He's out till March or something. So they have some injuries there. The Sloboslai injury doesn't appear to be too bad, and he's kind of day-to-day. But if they keep piling up some of these injuries here, they could be in some issue. Yes, I think they can finish above those. I don't think both will finish above Man City. One certainly can, but I think in the end, Man City, I'm going to have to agree with the bookies on this, as I think they're still favorites to win.
I don't know, man. I think with Klopp retiring, the Premier League decided to change the script.
There is that too.
I think there's, so if there's some little, as Ron said with Man City, there's just some little slight aggression off of the previous year, especially since Klopp's announcing that he's stepping away after this year. It's so weird, but in a game where teams are so good that it's this close, you almost could see that being the thing that just sort of pushes it just enough further ahead to see out this season.
Just that extra little bit of motivation.
Yeah. Here's what's going to happen. It's going to come down to the last day. Man City are going to win by 2 points, the league. The next day, the Premier League will come out and say, hey, we are going to sanction you, and we're going to sanction you for 3 points. And whoever's in second wins. That's what's going to happen.
I have a feeling that if a punishment is handed down to Man City, it's going to be slightly higher than 3 points.
I agree, but how awesome would that be if it was just like, okay, we'll just wait till the end of the season. Wait till you do that.
They got to just take them out of Europe.
Yep.
Right.
Just
pull them out to Europe, so they can't go to Europe.
If that happens, that's how Arsenal would win.
Yes, that's you're correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what would happen. I I don't know. I could see Liverpool. I could see just Liverpool doing this. I don't know. Got a good story for it. If Klopp can go out and do this, and hey, maybe he gets him a Champions League.
He's gotten him one before.
He has. Gents, shall we move on to the 2-minute drill?
Let's do it.
Why not?
All right. So we're going to recap other matches around the Premier League this weekend as we ask one question of each match in the 2-minute drill. All right. First up, Aston Villa get back to winning ways, and Ollie Watkins, great game, gets back on the score sheet with a brace at Villa, beat Fulham 2-1 to keep their title hopes alive. What % chance would you give Villa to win the league at this point in this season?
3%.
1%? I'm not even being rude. It's just what
0.33%.
Yeah. It's just what you were saying about Man City and what we were saying about Liverpool. I'm not, no disrespect intended.
No, it still goes back to, it doesn't necessarily go back to, but it goes to kind of what those other three clubs are doing above them and the form that they're in. And Villa's, I'm trying to bring up the table here. I don't know why it's not bringing up, but you got it up right there. Yeah. They're 6 points off of third right now. So that's 2 games, and you don't expect Arsenal to drop 2 in a row and then win 2 in a row anytime soon. So I might be a little far off of it with 6, but there's still a shot, right? I mean, they moved up to 4th with Tottenham's loss that we'll talk about here. They kind of swap spots. So yes, they still have a chance. Their results in the past few games haven't been good. Win, loss. So they're going to have to clean that up a bit to even, start talking that and try to get within at least a game of that top 3 to.
Didn't I call that
better chance?
Didn't I call it last pod? The Villa could be in there and Spurs get squeezed out.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Well,
sorry.
I think I agreed with you on this one.
See, I'm getting along over here. Sorry, I was like, I don't know if Ron's going to hit the buzzer or I'm going to hit it because he had done the other one. My bad.
Do you need me to do all the sound effects? Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm just saying I was like leaning for it, and you were leaning forward to say something, and I thought you and I were going to hit the buzzer at the same time, but you actually were going to say something, and then I just cut you off. So there you go.
I missed that sound.
Is that better?
Yeah. I need you to email that to me. Yeah, I couldn't find it.
Sure.
All right, Ron, that's you.
Sorry, I had the table up. Newcastle need a late Matt Ritchie. Oh, that's funny, Ferris. Newcastle need a late Matt Ritchie goal to help them earn a 2-2 draw against Bournemouth. Where's Matt Ritchie been?
I'm not gonna lie. No, he's on the team still.
Dude,
right?
Same. When I saw that, I absolutely the same.
Like, is he still around?
Fun match. But what are the key takeaways here, gentlemen?
I mean, I'd say that was a big one. I was absolutely astounded that man was playing.
That was a pretty big one for me. I don't know if there are any takeaways from this, if I'm being honest. Just in terms of you kind of knew what to expect from both. I mean, Newcastle kind of had to fight back to get the draw there at home. They haven't been great in past weeks. They're still dealing with a bunch of injuries, and Bournemouth can hurt you. So Solanke scores again. It was kind of a weird goal that he kind of just picked, but other than that, it was a fun game to watch and a fair result all around.
Yeah, I think the key takeaways is more of the same, right? Bournemouth, they play tough, but they can't win. At least in their last 5 matches, they lost 2 and drew 3 of them. And then Newcastle is very inconsistent. They came out, started this season on the front foot, just chasing down games, scoring tough goals, flying high, and then they just got to a point where injuries and fatigue has kind of set in, and so now they're really pretty inconsistent in a time when they should be picking up the momentum, not slacking it.
I think that Newcastle needs to be worried about Chelsea because I think West Ham is very inconsistent. And I do think Chelsea, it feels like you're going to start being better. It feels like you guys are turning a corner. And I could see Newcastle dropping a bit more before this season's done and trying to stay in the top 10.
I will, after this Sunday, when Chelsea play Liverpool for the Chupacabra Cup, is when I will tell you whether or not I think we're, quote, turning the corner.
Well, that's a good one. All right.
Calvin Phillips' nightmare start at West Ham gets worse as he's sent off in the second half against Nottingham Forest, as Forest end up seeing out a 1-0 lead that they had at the time to a 2-0 victory over the Hammers. David Moyes this past week has kind of punched back after a lot of criticism, and in the past week or so, where they've gotten absolutely crushed and have lost 3 in a row now. So he's been defending them. He's been defending his time at West Ham. But again, we ask, will he make it to the end of the season?
I tell you, man, losing to Arsenal is one thing. Losing to, was that Liverpool prior to that? Was that the other shellacking? You got to come back and beat Nottingham. That's rough. And I think that kind of performance, like, I don't know what the rest of their schedule is, what other, teams they're playing, but
you can't be like Calvin Phillips has been terrible for them. And you don't give yourself, you don't help yourself with any favors by putting your team down, in the second half as you're trying to mount a comeback to get it even. You're away from home, yes, but you haven't scored a goal in your last 3. You've lost all 3 by like aggregate score line of 10-0. Like it's not good.
No,
I don't think David Moyes does make it to the end of the season. I'd be surprised if he does.
I think he can, if they win a couple of key games that are coming up. If they can win against Brentford, Everton, Burnley, I think he's got a chance of staying.
I think they only beat Burnley. Brentford can beat them, and Everton, who are fighting for their Premier League survival, have a good chance to beat them. I think they're playing at Everton, so that's...
For Everton, West Ham looks like a winnable game that they can get some much-needed points out of.
Yeah, but also West Ham, till the end of the season, West Ham have Villa, Newcastle, Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool, City, and Luton Town as well. And I only put Luton Town in there because
they're tough to play.
Luton Town is a team you think you should be able to take, and they play you exceedingly tough.
Yeah. Do you know if that game's at home for West Ham or for Luton? Because if it's at Luton,
it should be at Luton.
That's going to be tough for him.
Agreed.
But I think he has the ability to stay. They just gotta get some points.
He does not have the ability to be here next year. I will say that.
Yeah.
For the next season. Let's see. Here we go. Tottenham move out of the top 4 as there are no late heroics this time versus the Wolves, as they beat the Spurs 2-1 in Tottenham's own backyard. Wolves once again prove hard to beat, but which way in the table do you see Tottenham heading from here?
I think they end just about where they're at. So if they move down, they're only going to move down to probably 6th or 7th.
Yeah.
They move up, they're probably only going to move up and kind of nick that top 4 spot. But
I think 5 or 6 is what you're looking at. There seems to be something's happened with Angie Ball. They've got injuries. It's totally true, but like, I don't know. No one's coming at them like they're afraid of playing them at all.
No.
What's interesting is Tottenham's got a very topsy-turvy schedule coming up. They're going to have Chelsea, Villa, Crystal Palace.
Chelsea game's postponed.
I know, but they still got to play it.
Yeah, at some point. I don't know when that
So
match has been rescheduled. Yeah.
So the point stands. They
Mhm.
still have to play Chelsea, Villa. Then they're going to play teams like Forest and Newcastle, Sheffield United, Burnley, Arsenal, Liverpool, City. So they have like both ends of the spectrum that they still have yet to play.
Mm-hmm.
And those the other end of the spectrum, you just point out are teams like Forest and stuff that you can't discount. So I don't know. I mean, I think you're right, Ferris. I think because of who is in 7th and down, it's probably 5th or 6th. But right now, I still have a little more faith in Villa to be a little bit less inconsistent than Spurs are right now. Oh, you beat me to the punch.
What in the world was Mason Holgate doing with that challenge? Terrible tackle, worthy of a red, as Sheffield play a majority of the match a man down and pay for it with a 5-0 defeat at Brighton. Brighton never really got out of first gear, but this has to be the end of Sheffield, right?
When are they mathematically finished?
I mean, pretty.
It could have easily been from this.
It could have been soon, right?
Yeah, they just moved down to minus 43 goal difference because of this. Terrible decision, terrible tackle. What the hell was he doing? It's like he never actually wanted to play, just wanted to leave the match early, and it cost his team. And Brighton are by far one of the worst teams to do that against, and they really, like I said, they weren't that great, but yet they still won 5-0.
Yeah,
it's they're down. I think that's the nail in the coffin. That match, they have 0.0000% chance of Premier League survival.
Yeah. I kind of feel bad for the manager because he came out during the week after last week's performance and said, you know, we've had a come to Jesus, if you will, and I need people to play smarter. I need people to do this. I need people to do that. And after that series of press conferences and talks, you kind of had a bit of excitement about what the possibilities were going to be this weekend for Sheffield United. And then you have a player who comes out and does this.
Mm-hmm. Well, they very easily probably would have still lost the game. But that wasn't going to help when you're playing essentially from, what was it, the 15th to 20th minute down?
Yeah.
A man down the entire time. You don't have the team. You don't have the defense clearly because you're already at a minus 38 goal difference prior to this. So they're down. They're cooked.
Well, they moved from 97 point. From match week 90. Let's see where we're at. From the 13th of February, they were 97.7% likely on Opta Analytics to be relegated. After this last game, they're now at 99%. Just in case
I was close.
Just in case you're wondering.
1%. I said 0.00%.
So the worst Premier League team in history is still for the Premier League, not top flight, but Premier League, was Derby 07-08. They were relegated as of March 29th. I think that's our earliest.
I think beat them.
Huh?
I think Sheffield's going to beat that date.
Well, they had 11 points.
They only have 13 right now.
I know. So they still wouldn't be the worst.
No, but I think they can beat that date.
But if 18th, and above can score just enough or just get enough points, like, they could beat that March 29th. Man, brutal. You just got double buzzard right there.
Yep.
Rasmus
Højlund once again scores twice, actually. This time becoming the youngest player ever in the Premier League to score in six straight games as Man United hold on to beat Luton 2-1 with Harry Styles in attendance. It was a pretty fun match, eh, gents?
I mean, again, you can't discount Luton Town, right? I mean, Love that Harry Styles was hanging out there.
Yeah, that random, right? But cool.
I mean, you got. I think we talked about it last pod. Man United also seem like they're turning a corner on the season, maybe locking in a little more consistency.
Yeah, no, it's been a good past few weeks. I think we only joined Arsenal as the only the only team to have not lost a game since the start of the year, or have won every game since the start of the year. So we haven't been that far into the year, or something along those lines. But also, it was just announced yesterday that Jim Ratcliffe's ownership has been fully approved, done, good to go by all parties, by everybody. So he he's doing a lot of things. He's trying to get Dan Ashworth from Newcastle. He was just placed on gardening leave with them. So they're really trying to make these moves.
Gardening leave.
That's what they call it. I still don't figure why. I know. But yes, good times. Not the best game. He thought United were going to come out and just plummet them as they scored 2 within like 15 minutes. But Luton, we were talking about a little bit ago. So difficult to play against at home. They got themselves into the game, and they almost pulled out a win here. They were pushing. They were attacking. They weren't creating a great deal, but they were the better team from about the 30th or so on. But United get out there with the win. We'll take that. New owner and the youngest player ever to score in 6 straight games. Pretty cool. So, yeah, good week.
Some of the pieces.
The only thing I could think of while watching this match was the stats that I sent you guys about the biggest babies in the Premier League. And it went through and named like the top 10 babies in the Premier League, and Bruno Fernandes was.
That's a given.
Yeah. That's all I could think about, because I just like watching him, be a complete little baby the whole time.
Well, in that same week, the Premier League, the actual Premier League account, put out stats from since Bruno joined, and he's first or second in all of the creation stats and that sort of thing.
I mean, he's certainly talented.
It's give and take.
It's just hilarious that he's a baby.
He's a baby.
Very talented baby.
Thank you, Blake. He's a very talented baby. Yes, indeed. You guys know, real quick before we hit whichever one you guys want. Mardi Gras. Do you know who the second who previously held the youngest player to score in 6 straight games? Do you know which player that was?
I do not.
Joe Willock.
Huh?
Oh.
Did not know that.
I wouldn't have picked him.
Yeah. I think when he was playing for Arsenal, if I'm not mistaken. So,
gentlemen,
careful. That doesn't mean Holland may stop now for a while. So, sorry, was that wrong?
Would you guys like to know what gardening leave is?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I do.
Garden leave is a protectionist measure used by an employer when an employee is terminated or when they tender their resignation. Once in effect, it often prevents the employee from being involved in any work activity for the current employer, and typically restricts them from either taking on another job or working for themselves. An employee is generally likely to spend their time pursuing hobbies such as gardening, hence the term gardening leave.
That makes a hell of a lot more sense now, because he was placed on that, which means, because he was recruitment and knows the ins and out of what Newcastle is planning on doing in years to come and has done in years past. So being placed on that amongst interest, as it was kind of reported that he came out and basically said, I want to go to Man United. The club's like, okay, well, you're going to be put on this leave, which essentially just prevents you from doing much of anything.
Yeah. Typically a term used in New Zealand, Australia, and the UK.
I like it.
No, we're on gardening leave.
We should start. Was that your UK, New Zealand, or Australian accent? Which was?
All of the above.
Oh, exactly.
All right. Finally, Monday, 2 second-half goals see Everton and Crystal Palace share the point, as on the same day, Roy Hodgson steps down as manager of Palace following him having taken ill earlier in the week and a bad run of games in which pressure has been piling. Crystal Palace already have since appointed former Eintracht Frankfurt boss Oliver Glasner as Hodgins' successor. That's a question mark. He was at the previous match, right? Watching.
Mm-hmm.
It stings because this was done and kind of feels like a weird way. You know what I mean? Like in terms of how it had to play out. It actually makes me think Roy Hodgson did get sick because it made them have to halt how they were going to announce things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he essentially leaves, right? It's not he got sacked. It's not like he's put on gardening leave. Like he basically came out and said, "Hey, I need to step away for the betterment of of this club. I know results haven't been there," and just it was a very professional. This club means a lot to me. I know they're going to succeed. I know they're going to do well. That sort of thing. But yeah, it was weird. I think both parties had the best intentions, but circumstances with losses piling in and a really 76-year-old manager and all of these things were kind of just playing into it that, hey, we know he's probably not going to last. We're on the same page with that. We need to find somebody to get us through until the end of the season. So we got to get somebody lined up. Oh, he's ill. Oh, he wants to leave. It just kind of all worked its way.
Yeah.
There.
I hope there is nothing serious in the whole taken ill thing. And I hope he's just, kind of, it's his time to move on.
Yeah. Agreed. A toast.
Not in life. Just move on.
Yes, move on to a next project.
Yes. Yeah. Professionally do other things.
Or just retire, man. Chill out. 76. Oh my God. Why would you want to keep dealing with this crap in the Premier League? Go enjoy some time, Mr. Hodgins. Cheers to Roy Hodgins.
Cheers.
Boom. Did you do it happen again?
Was that a whistle and a
Oh,
buzzer?
it was a whistle and a buzzer.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Ron, blow the halftime whistle so we can actually hear it.
I did it.
Yeah, but all right, there we go. So now it's time for all the news that's fit to drink in Ron's beer news.
Dun, 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 dun. Gentlemen, the MLS is back as of a couple hours ago.
Guess who's
Inter
back?
beat Real Salt Lake at a score of 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
And with that in mind, the Portland Timbers unveil a pub beer patio at Providence Park.
Oh, it's a fun sentence to say, but sounds awesome.
10 Barrel Brewing Company and the Widmer Brothers are going to be the main craft beer of choice at this location. And if you're in the Portland area,
I want to see a game there so bad.
for their home opener, it's sure to be quite exciting to go check out this craft beer pub patio. So there's that.
That's exciting. I have.
Heck yeah.
Neither of you in a game there, right?
I have not.
Nope.
I want to.
We were in town. You and I.
That was
were-
Seattle.
Hold on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry.
We were in town in Seattle, and on our way back from the cruise that we took, we were trying to figure out if we could hit a Portland Timbers game because Seattle was away, and
That's right.
we couldn't make the Portland
That's right.
because it was like 4 hours too late.
It was something. Yeah.
But that's as close as I've gotten to see a
Yeah.
match there. One other thing, Molson Coors, their agreement with Pabst Blue Ribbon is going to end at the end of 2024, gentlemen.
Gentlemen, get your credit cards ready. Let's get us a Pat PBR brewery.
You have a choice to buy into Manchester United or PBR. Which one are you buying into?
PBR.
Oh, easy.
PBR.
I mean-
yeah, we're going. Yeah.
I mean, is that even a question?
Easily. Was it the last beer that we had in Chicago about 2 years ago? Didn't we all go to some like hole in the wall bar that Scott found, and we PBR was our last beer in Chicago?
Oh yeah, that's right. We need to do that again.
That guy can find the best dive bars, and he found essentially a bottle shop or a can shop that's, just kind of a seedy little bar, and you could pick from any of the bottles or cans, but you weren't allowed to open it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you paid for the beer and an opening fee, which was hilarious.
We need to do that again. And by do that again, we need to get Scott and the crew that was there for your bachelor party to pick a different city to go to,
Yeah.
and let
Portland,
let
right there.
Scott
There we go.
Portland and see a game in Portland.
wherever,
Yeah.
and then Scott. It just is like the divining rod. We just let him go find places for us to go have and drink.
He is sure to find two things.
I know one of
town.
them you said. I know one of them you're going to say.
One is the seediest, choppiest bar he can.
Yep.
And the other one is a tiki bar.
Tiki bar. Yep. That was a big. It was 3 olives or 3 lemons.
No. 3 dots and a dash.
3 dots and a dash. We went. Really cool bar. We got the biggest drink known to man.
In a glass skull.
Jesus. And we had already been in for a few that day.
So
You and Scott tapped out and gave me a look, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to work on finishing this thing. Holy hell.
yeah, I we're totally deviating here, but I don't care. I was in the little quaint town of Southington, Connecticut. We're like walking around and we see a place, I'm like, that's a cool like shoe shop. And then we're like looking at the glass window going, that's fake. That is definitely, I bet you can take that wall out in the back. And it's this, there were like 2 little speakeasies in this little itty bitty small town that I want to go back to. So yeah, we need to plan another one of those little trips, gents.
Portland, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Portland at some point this year. I'd love to just see a Timbers match or a Thorns match. Thorns match would be a lot of fun.
True story. So, because Pabst Blue Ribbon is going to be parting ways from the Molson Coors Beverage Company, Pabst Blue Ribbon has decided to exercise its option to purchase the Irwindale Brewery. And such a purchase is expected to close in the 4th quarter. And essentially, these guys are going to get the Pabst Blue Ribbon Brewery back.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
well, you know what? When they launch the first beers brewed by them, that needs to be our beer of the pod.
oh yeah, rush out and grab one.
Yeah, we should tell you, however you can tell, like, well, I guess it wouldn't, I guess the bottom, they might say Coors or Molson, I don't know, on them, but we'll have to, once they release theirs, we definitely need to snag some for the pod.
Yeah. Agreed.
Absolutely.
All right. Does that get us to the La Liga's Roundup MLS edition?
Darn tootin'. Yo, no, I'm not gonna do the yo-ho.
From
over
Cowboys to
yo-hos.
Pirates.
All right, so we're going to talk a little 2024 MLS, which just kicked off today. Match on Saturday. I think Ron and I are both planning on making the Orlando City home opener. We're actually watching Orlando City right now against Calvary FC in the CONCACAF Champions League. Before we do that, let's recap on our predictions from last year, because I don't think we ever actually did that. So in 2023, at the start of the season, we had some doozies of picks here, gents. Blake selected winner of the East to be CF Montreal. I predicted Nashville SC, and Ron predicted NYCFC. FC Cincinnati won the Shield and were first in the East. Nashville made it 7th, made the playoffs. NYC missed the playoffs. CF Montreal missed the playoffs. So we didn't do too hot there at all. So nowhere near winner. Over in the West, LAFC was picked by Blake, and then Austin by me and Ron. Me and Austin completely missed that. Austin FC last year finished a surprisingly 12th in the Western Conference.
They tanked.
And completely missed the playoffs. Blake came close, though. They finished 3rd in the West. And lost in what would be the MLS championship, actually. So FC Cincinnati was both. They were the winner of the Shield and Orlando City goal. Duncan McGuire. All right.
Not going to Blackburn.
No, he's not. Well done.
I'm glad. Good to know he's still. Man, what a bad situation, but good on him.
Absolutely. But yeah, FC Cincinnati did quite well last year. MVP, Blake chose Brandon Vasquez, and both Ron and I, Sebastian Driussi. We were nowhere near. Luciano Costa, who does play for FC Cincinnati, won the MVP. None of us were close, as Denny Bouanga and Thiago Almada finished 2nd and 3rd in the voting, respectively. So we were way off from that. Golden Boot, Blake picked Driussi. I picked Bernadeschi, God almighty. And Ron picked Brandon Vasquez. To be honest, I completely forgot I picked Bernardeschi. Didn't even look up where he finished, but it had to be nowhere near the top. It was Denny Bwanga with 20 goals. Jerussi and Sebastian Jerussi finished with 11 goals, tied for 8th with 5 others. And Brandon Vasquez ended in 8th, tied with a whole host there too. So Denny Bwanga won your Golden Boot last year. Biggest team to miss the playoffs. Blake absolutely got this one correct, as he said the LA Galaxy would miss the playoffs, and boy, did they. They finished in 13th place. They were worse than Austin FC. Like, they bad. I chose LAFC, clearly wrong. And Ron chose Atlanta United. Not a bad pick.
I really thought they were going to do better.
But they did make the playoffs. So Ron thought they were going to miss the playoffs, but they did sneak into the playoffs. Some other notables that completely missed the playoffs last year were Portland Timbers did not make the playoffs. NYCFC did not. Toronto FC and Inter Miami did not. So we'll let you know our picks there coming up. And then who won the championship? Obviously, it was the Columbus Crew, as they beat LAFC 2-1. Wilfred Nancy, first year with the club, getting the win last year for the Columbus Crew. Ron and Blake chose Austin, and I chose Portland. All three of those teams didn't even make the playoffs. So we absolutely got that way wrong. Yeah, so that's how we did it last year. Kind of recap too on how the league ended. The goal scorers, MVPs, teams to make the playoffs and to make the playoffs, that sort of thing. Before we get into kind of a little bit of a preview and some notable signings for the league, as there was a bunch, we got to talk what's going on in the MLS with the refereeing. We can talk about that. Most matches, but not for the reason that you are thinking right now. We're essentially having some, I don't want to say volunteered refs, but
replacements.
We have replacements. We have 66 replacements that have officially committed to filling in for the time being, as the MLS, the pros refereeing organization, have locked out their MLS refs, who usually do the first division, second division, and that sort of thing, as well as the WSL. They have locked them out. They cannot come to an agreement with the league. In fairness, I would have declined that agreement too. The league it's not like they're not even paying for like a post-match meal for them and that sort of thing. It's kind of ridiculous.
There's a lot of
the weeds of it, so that they said no, we're not going to sign that. I don't blame them one bit.
It's astonishing when you can go to The Athletic. They have a really good article about the whole referee strike. It's incredible when you start reading how badly the MLS actually treats the referees.
And the fans treat them bad.
Well, I mean, that's a separate issue.
Treat them bad. And then the league in which they're employed by?
Yeah.
Come on.
Right.
I mean, this might tell you why sometimes it's a little rough out there.
Yeah. So tonight's match, because you're wondering, well, what happened tonight? Well, the center referee for the game tonight was Christian Campo Hernandez. The Spaniard officiated matches in the second division USL championship last year and was previously an NCAA ref. So it's not like you're just pulling him off the street and saying, go out there. He is also part of the Pro Talent ID program, the mechanism that Pro uses to identify and develop future MLS refs. So, I don't want to say amateur, but a not quite the top flight of refs. So that's kind of how they're going to use these 66 to kind of disseminate them over the first weekend of the league. See how that goes. If the league and them can come to, if the league and the actual pro refs can come to some sort of agreement. They seem very far apart at the moment. But maybe the further we get into the season, when the NWSL starts, who knows? But that's kind of the state of things. As Ron said, you can head over to the Athletic. They have a few very good articles there that kind of explain the hows and whys. I mean, the new collective bargaining agreement did not pass a vote. Almost, they had better. They have better odds than what Burnley have. Or no, I'm sorry, what Sheffield have. The vote did not pass because of 95.8% said no. That's
a serious message.
Yes.
That goes from the pro referee organization to the MLS.
That's not no. That's a hell no.
Yeah.
That's what that is. But yeah, that's the ref, and you can head over there for all the news on that. You probably won't see a lot on MLSsoccer.com because they're really not going to want to share this. So
right.
You have to go to kind of a third party to get some more.
They're going to say the referees union is trying to hurt the MLS, and we're trying to protect the integrity of the game. Blah blah blah.
Yep. Meanwhile, you can't even have a proper site online. It has to be MLSsoccer.com.
And it normally doesn't work.
No. All right. So now to get into the fun stuff, we're going to go over a few of the most notable signings in the offseason. There was quite a few. But we'll start off with the Shield winners, FC Dallas, probably win the offseason as they bring
FC
in men's national. So what, Blake?
FC Cincinnati?
Yeah, well, what did I say?
FC Dallas. Definitely was not the case for Shield winners.
Another one of these velvet food here. Whew. Good catch. The Shield winners, FC Cincinnati. There you go. Probably win the offseason as they bring in U.S. men's national team defender and now former Atlanta United defender Miles Robinson as a free agent to bolster their back line. Listen, this team just won the Shield and barely lost out to Columbus in what was a 4-3 fun game.
Yeah.
This is a huge, really good signing for them. Quality center back. Probably start most games for the U.S. in the upcoming Gold Cups, and will probably be a starter for the Olympics here in a few years, coming off a great season at Atlanta. Very good signing for them. Now, down further south, enter Barcelona senior living. Sorry, enter Miami. Added to the Barcelona of old players with the addition of Luis Suarez to their front line. Meanwhile, over in California, Frenchman Hugo Lloris joined up with LAFC on a transfer from Tottenham Hotspur. Also from Europe, Emil Forsberg is staying with the RB family as he switched from Germany's RB Leipzig to the Red Bulls of New York. Then we're going to go from coast to coast. So from the West Coast to the East Coast, former Seattle captain joins up with our Orlando City as Nicolas Ladero replaces Mauricio Pereira in the attacking midfield for the Lions. We then do an about face, head back from the East Coast over to the West Coast as Kamal Miller, formerly of Inter Miami, joins the Portland Timbers, but he wasn't the biggest signing. As in the offseason, the biggest signing for the Timbers was Phil Neville,
right?
Formerly of Inter Miami.
Hilarious.
So the back joins his manager now over on the West Coast in Portland. Maybe we'll see them this year in Portland.
Right.
But speaking of managers, we head back over to the East Coast as another English manager and Dean Smith, formerly of Aston Villa. No, not the UNC Tar Heel basketball legend.
Thank you, because every time I hear it, that is absolutely what I hear.
Right. Joins up with Charlotte FC in North Carolina. Interestingly here, Dean Smith, the English one, very knowledgeable of the area, likes the area because his son played college in the area. So it was kind of the things that kind of enticed him to North Carolina.
That area rocks, man.
Yeah. And sorry to do this to you once again, but we'll finally head back over to the West Coast as my Colorado Rapids get a U.S. men's national team overhaul as they bring in Zach Steffen in goal from Man City, Georgi Mihailovic from AZ Alkmaar, and Sam Vines from Royal Antwerp. So Colorado finished last in the West last year, very, very poor. They also brought in Chris Armas as their manager, formerly of Toronto, and was on the coaching staff with Ralph Rangnick at Manchester United. So Colorado, a lot of changes here. But yeah, those are all of your notable signings. So gentlemen, what catches your ear with all of these notable moves, plus any others that you may have seen? Kind of how do you think they're going to help and play out teams here?
Being from Carolina, we were cracking jokes, but honestly, the Dean Smith one coming to FC Charlotte, I'm always been an Orlando fan because I was there first, but I certainly want to see the game grow in my home state. So like and they kind of started strong, and that's the one that catches me. I would love to see them, have a good season. Just not too good. Just good enough to keep the game rolling over there.
I think in the end, we're going to have a very similar season as we did last year, to be honest. I think there's going to be a lot of teams that we expect to make the playoffs that miss it. And I think teams like FC Cincinnati and, excuse me. Oh, that beer's repeating on me now.
There it is.
Teams like FC Cincinnati are going to, kind of stay at the top of,
I think so too.
Of their specific conferences. So in a lot of ways, I really do think we're going to end up with a very similar season as we did last year.
There's always going to be a surprise, right? There's parity every year in the league. Interesting enough, though, Blake, did you know that our former midfielder here in the Lions, Junior Urso, actually just signed with them as a free agent?
Oh, yeah.
So that's interesting for Charlotte. I think a Chicago Fire is going to be better this year. They've made some moves. One that we didn't mention in that was Kellen Acosta coming in, a vet of the league, a very solid midfielder. I think he's going to boost them a bit. FC Cincinnati, Ron, to your point, they're going to be up there again. Colorado, as we were just saying, are going to be a much better team. Will they make the playoffs? I think they're going to be on the cusp, but I think they're going to be a lot better than dead last in the West. FC Dallas, I think, is going to be better as well, signing an Omar Gonzalez on the offseason and a Peter Musa from Benfica. So a vet at the back, a very promising European forward coming in. So look for FC Dallas to cause some issues and be at the top of the West. Orlando City only bolstered theirs, as I don't think I said it in the rundown. I meant to, but Luis Muriel, a European striker, comes in, Colombian for Orlando City. He'll wear the number 9 shirt. So we'll have a pretty good pairing there with Duncan and him. I don't... LAFC, yes, with Lloris. The Galaxy, I'm not sure on. They should be better. But I don't know. Yes, of course, Inter Miami will probably make the playoffs this year. I just don't think they're going to be as good as everybody thinks they're going to be. Kind of a patchy back line.
So,
I mean, I want to get to the predictions off of that, but go ahead.
I think Miami is going to have to play the game where Blake mentioned this for a Premier League team, and I'm trying to remember who it was, but essentially they're not going to care about defense because their defensive lineup is shaky at best.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really going to have to count on their Inter-Messi Barcelona reunion deal to just completely outscore the opponents, hold on to the ball as much as possible. Other than that, they're going to get scored on a lot.
I think so.
So when you come up against teams like FC Cincinnati and Columbus, Orlando, who's going to be a big rival for them this year, I think when you come up against attacking teams that can hold the ball and won't put up with, the Messi BS, I think it's going to be hard for Inter Messi to gain traction in those games.
Yeah, agreed. I think when teams start to tactically set up well to stop that being, him being on the ball and being able to feed others in a play, I think teams are going to figure that out quite quick. They had a little bit taste of it last season. This league is different in that respect. And will Messi play on all these artificial fields and stuff that we have? So we'll see. I think they're going to be obviously much better than they were last year. Started off with a 2-0 win tonight over.
Man can drink Michelob Ultra, can't play in an artificial field. I don't know. I feel like there's a direct allegory there.
I mean, that and him and the Barcelona twins are all, aging.
Mm-hmm.
And this playing here is not like playing in Spain.
Yeah.
right? So you've got all these massive travel days and
Cross country.
well, not only that, but the climate differences in all these different locations, right? That's going to take a toll.
Yeah, I think so.
Imagine him playing a snowy game in Ohio. Like,
Yeah, right. Can he point Columbus out on a map in the U.S.? Nope, doubt it.
oh my God, no.
I think the East is going to be drastically improved. I think you're going to see some much better teams. CF Montreal and Nashville kind of come to mind with what they've done in the offseason, and how they're kind of going about starting up the season. And same thing in the West, as I talked about. FC Dallas, so surprising. Look for the Houston Dynamo to have another good year, as they won the Open Cup last year. So Minnesota United is going to be better. Portland should be better. So you're just going to see a lot there.
We'll see.
But Blake, you said it. Prediction time?
Yeah, man.
All
I feel
right.
like we're kind of dancing around it a little bit with this conversation.
Yeah. Well, we're just.
It's the preview. We got to have these
Yeah,
conversations.
I know, but some of our conjecture, I was like, oh, we're getting.
Oh, yes. What a score. Outside the box.
Who
from
scored that one?
Sorry.
Yeah, no, we got. I don't. Who scored it?
Yeah, who scored that one?
Does not make.
I'll
for
tell you
very
in a
good
second.
Podcasting, but
It's all right.
Facundo.
Facundo Torres. What a shot. Oh, look at that. Through
Yeah.
traffic. Keeper couldn't save it. Bing. 2-0.
Let's start with that. Who's going to be your winner in the East, gentlemen?
Look, guys, I didn't talk about it in this bit because the other thing I wanted to add to FC Cincinnati was I actually think a lot of the moves and little kind of tweaking around Orlando made, I think they're going to be quite good. And I have put Orlando City Soccer Club as taking the East this year.
I like it out of the gate. Well done.
You can put me down for that because Blake stole mine.
You know what? Why not? We're gonna. All three of
Three-peat.
us are gonna go with the hat trick homer.
And I'm not
just a homer pick.
Yeah, and there's my heart's involved, but like I think some good picks, and like when you did as good as you did last year, and you just needed a little couple of things.
Your most points ever in the MLS. No real takeaways.
Our
We lost
home
Antonio
form.
Carlos.
Mhm.
Lost Pereira, but we gained in experience. We gained at the front line. We gained in the back as well with some good European signings. So yeah, I'm on board with that. Now over to the West. Who you guys got coming out of the West as winning that conference?
Am I going first again?
Yeah.
All right. Shooting from the hips down in Texas, y'all. Ba-ting, ting. I'm gonna go with Houston. I'm gonna throw a curveball at you.
I'll stay in Houston, and I'll go with FC Dallas. I'll stay in Texas, and I'll go with FC Dallas.
Oh,
That's right.
Texas shootout.
Dallas.
That you picked Dallas? I love it. That's great.
So now,
Dallas and
which of
Houston.
those teams, or Orlando City, who we all picked, or the team that we picked in the West, who's going to win the Shield, there, gentlemen?
Orlando.
I think out of the way it was last year, I think it'll be the same. I think the East will end up with the more points. So I will say
We're all going to Orlando again.
Orlando, yeah.
Let's do it. Cool, man.
Did we all pick the exact same picks?
Yeah, we're probably going to fail miserably. That's okay. All right.
Watch it be the best year ever, and so none of us can win. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. The MVP of the league. Who do you think is going to be the most valuable player in the MLS?
I've already gone first. Let's go first this time.
I went first last time.
Oh, you guys really put me on the spot like that?
Yep.
Jesus. God bless it.
I love these.
All right. Let's see. I think, you know what? We're going to go Homer again. For Orlando City are the Shield winners. Facundo Torres come on down as MVP.
Wow. That's a shout.
Here's the thing. Luciano Acosta won last year, Shield winners for FC Dallas. You get that creative midfielder, that number 10, causing a lot of goals, a lot of assists, really dictating play. Facundo can do that again this year with the team, get those goals, get those assists, and they end up as the Shield winner. Good as other. MVP. Who do you guys got?
Ron? Oh, wait. Should it be me this go around?
I'm going to say it's a political move, and I'm not going to agree with it.
Oh, I know where you're going.
But Messi's going to get it.
What I wrote down was Messi has already won it.
I'm literally going to write that in the notes.
Yep, I completely agree. I completely agree. Miami can have a mid-year, and they'll justify it that way. They won't. They're going to have games that are highlighted for games of the week, and it won't even matter. Like they'll be already knocked out of playoffs or something. But yep. And there'll be someone who has done better, but he's going to win it.
That is a.
It's my vote in protest.
Yeah, that's a fair shout.
You picture with it. Blake said Messi has already won it.
Just like he won the Ballon d'Or and shouldn't have.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Golden Boot. Who do you gentlemen think are gonna get that there?
All right. I think this is my turn again. I guess this isn't like a far out shot, but I'm gonna go Cucho Hernandez.
Columbus?
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. That's a good pick from you.
I don't think they'll win, and do you know why?
Why?
They are stupid and just got Charlie Brown jerseys. Have you guys seen these new kits?
Yeah, I did. Yes, I heard.
It's literally Charlie Brown. So Cucho Hernandez is gonna have a little rain cloud over him getting that MVP, but they don't.
Okay.
Or sorry, Golden Boot. That's who I picked over there.
Correct. Good shot there. I'm gonna go with the new guy in Dallas, Peter Musa, the Croatian striker, up there with Herrera, who I think as that kind of center forward role, be able to create, open some things up for him. I don't think the West is as strong as the East, so I think there are goal opportunities there for them. It's a punter's chance. I don't think it's really going to come that good for me, but I will take that chance, and I will go with Peter Musa of FC Dallas.
I like it. All right, Ron.
I'm going to go for the new Orlando DP.
Oh.
Luis Muriel.
Man, Ron sticking the home line. Oh, man.
Yeah, he's going. Yeah. Everybody except for Messi so far. Yep. All right. Biggest team to miss the playoffs. Ron, why don't you go first?
Biggest team to miss the playoffs.
Do you need a second?
Mind you, hold on. There are now 9 teams that get in each conference. That's a lot of teams.
There's only we should be picking what are the 2 teams that don't make it into the
correct.
So
Right.
That's a 9 out of each conference. One conference has 14 teams in it. The other has 15 teams in it. So we're not talking a lot of teams actually miss the playoffs.
But technically, it's only 7 that are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because the 8th and 9th spot in each play the
playing
wild card game.
They play the wild card game. You get a home field advantage if your TAM outweighs your GAM, unless your SAM has the JAM, and then
don't get me started because
that's coming up soon.
Rabbit hole.
Yeah, Ron did a research rabbit hole on TAM, JAM, GAM, and all the weird MLS finances. We got to do
this
that soon.
We'll definitely get into that. Absolutely,
because it's the Wild West of money.
I'm sure it is.
I'm going to say Philly misses out on the playoffs.
Good. Okay.
I'd entertain that one.
I think
good show.
I think the problems that they're going to have, they're not the people that they brought in are not. I just want to know where the goals are going to continuously come from, right? Like I feel like with the notable outs and the notable ins, I don't know that they reached the equilibrium that they had last season. So
yeah, and they've been kind of, players have left. They've produced some very good young talent that have left. Brandon Aronson and some others that have gone over are now over. They've made some signings, but you're getting some older legs, and an Alejandro Bedoya re-signed. Kai Wagner re-signed. Good in their own rights. Kai Wagner probably the better of those. I agree with you. Where are those goals going to come, and what should be a pretty strong East, all things considered, from where we're kind of sitting at now. So, okay. Good shout. Blake.
Now, this is going to sound dumb if you looked at where they were last year, but based on what everybody's saying, I think the biggest team to not make the playoffs is going to be Inter Messi Miami.
I would love that. I so badly want to pick that as well.
I disagree. I disagree vehemently with the bookies right now that have a plus 250 Inter Miami winning the league. And then you get, I know the names that are involved there now, and I get that, but that's just a couple of players out of an entire team. And if there's ever been one thing that the MLS has suffered from, it's having these players that are, we dealt with it at Orlando. Kaká was fantastic, but he was surrounded by players that were too far away. And there was that big argument of we need to really raise the median level of pay in the MLS to so they can partner better with these guys. I could see an Inter Miami being a bit of a mess because what did we talk about with like Harry Kane being gone from the Spurs and how it opened the game up? If everyone's just focused on getting the ball to these guys, yes, they're great and they'll do some crazy things. I could also totally blow up for Miami. So
it could, and some news have come out that they're going to have to kind of shed some weight here as they're going to have to meet the cap level and that sort of thing.
Wait, so there are rules that apply to Miami?
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Those were rules based off the 2023 season. They come up with new rules every season. Fair enough. Those new rules haven't been made yet. So I can see the league kind of skirting those rules into just past where Miami fits into it to have that. But we'll see. Because remember, last year we started at this time, we didn't know how the playoffs were going to run.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't know how the championship was going to decide. So they'll announce that when they want and whatever suits them down there in Miami. But they also have some big just injuries on their team right now that people are going to be out the entire year. So I would love to pick them. But with 9 teams getting in, I think at the very least they'll make 8th or 9th. And that's probably, terrible to say as most people think they're going to win the league. But anyways, I'm going to go with one over in the West Coast. Seattle Sounders.
Again, that's who I picked last year.
So I'm not 100% confident on it, but that would be quite a big team to miss the playoffs as they've made it pretty much every year since they've been in the league. So we'll see. All right, gents. The big question. Who wins the MLS Soccer.Cup Championship?
Ferris, just go ahead and fill it in. Orlando City Soccer Club times 3.
Done. Done.
Look, I
putting
know
that in right now.
I know we're fans, and I know that, but this is probably the way things are lining up. I'm saying this because I need to manifest it. This is probably the best shot in a bit. When all the pieces kind of line up, and you go, "This is a pretty good team right now." You got to do this, man, because there's so much parity in the MLS and the way things shakes around. So I'm manifesting it.
The closest
Huh?
that we've ever been.
I love you said that. Done. It's in there. Book, seal, delivered. That is our MLS preview for the 2024 season.
Look, Ron didn't even say they. He's like, yeah, yep. We have to. This is the moment, and if it doesn't happen, it's going to take, I think, a little bit to get back there.
Right. We can't be any more wrong than we were last season or the season before that.
Or the one before
or
that.
the before that. So if anything, it tells you, and as we discussed, the MLS is just full of parity. And it's wild. You only have a handful of teams that are really consistent year in and year out. Everybody else is just up and down and a hodgepodge. So, it should be a fun year. Majority of the games happening this Saturday on Apple TV Plus, which is awesome. If you're a season ticket holder and with any MLS team, you get that for free throughout the season. Good coverage. I think they're going to improve from last year.
There are some changes, and I think it's worth checking out. We always talk about this group, World Soccer Talk, their pod, their website. There's some interesting changes. I shared an article with you guys. We won't go into it here. We'll kind of see how the first weekend shakes out. Maybe we'll have something to say, but there are some changes being made, and curious to see what they learned and what they do with the coverage this year. And in the long run, figuring out was this a good move for MLS or not? I think the jury is still out yet, so we'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm. And then real quick before we end the pod, we got to discuss the number 2 ranked team in all of FIFA, the U.S. women's national team, as they started their CONCACAF W Gold Cup yesterday. So the CONCACAF Gold Cup for the women is comprised of 3 groups: Group A, Group B, and Group C. The United States are in Group A. They also have Argentina, Mexico, and Dominican Republic, with whom they beat yesterday in that Group A. Group B is consisted of Colombia, Brazil, Puerto Rico. I think Puerto Rico and Brazil are playing at the current moment, tied to 0-0. And Panama's also in that group. Group C, Canada, Costa Rica, El Salvador, and Paraguay. So this tournament, you can find on, I think, ESPN Deportes and the family of ESPN channels, if I'm not mistaken, will kind of span over the course of 3 weeks. So we'll end shortly before the before the NWSL season starts. And last night, the U.S. women kicked it off, as I said, against the Dominican Republic with a 5-0 win. This is a very different U.S. team than what we're used to. This is a lot of young players, a lot of up-and-comers with a few notables in there, one of which just added yesterday and scored, that being Alex Morgan, who wore the number 7 shirt, which she had a cheeky post that was like, is this as weird as everybody else thinks it's weird seeing that kit? But a very young team. We should see how they do in this tournament. Remember, we don't get Emma Stone in until Hayes. Yes, correct. Sorry. Emma Hayes. So,
Emma Stone.
Why did is she an actor? What is
she is an actress. Yeah. She's
Yeah. Okay. We don't get Emma Hayes in until probably the June timeframe before the Olympics. But we got to keep an eye on forward Olivia Moultrie. 18 years old, got herself a brace yesterday. Probably could have had a hat trick. Lynn Williams got one. I don't know. I'm going to butcher this name. Nicewanger?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. She converted the first pen, not the best pen, but that made it 4-0. And then in the 93rd +3, Alex Morgan converted the 5th and final goal and second pen of the day. So a good win, an expected win. Again, young team, a team that you're not used to seeing, but, did have your Sophia Smiths in it, Lynn Williams, Sonnet, Sauerbrunn, all names you've seen there. Nair, some names we've seen before, and Mitch Purse and Abby Dahl Camper were in this squad. Sauerbrunn. Yep. So some names there before, but then some others like Sam Coffey,
Albert in the midfield.
Yep. Corbin Albert, she plays over in the French league with Lindsay Horan over for PSG. So interesting team, some talent, some veteran talent like a Trinity Rodman or Roosevelt who came on as subs, but a lot of young talent here as well. So this is a good tournament for that young talent to play in and showcase. So if you can catch any of their games over this 3 weeks, please do, and we will update you on future pods.
It's exciting times. It's the future.
Absolutely.
It is indeed. I can't wait to see what Hayes does with this team.
And not Emma Stone.
Not Emma
Stone. When she does the movie, I don't know, maybe she plays Emma Hayes.
There you go.
20 years from now. All right, gents, let's wrap.
Hold on. And that is your La Liga's round.
Oh, thank you.
There's Emma Stone.
There you go.
That's definitely Emma.
Our beers of the pod, real quick, I had a triple decker Belgian style ale triple from Clocktown Brewing in Thomaston, Connecticut. Sorry. You guys had
Mardi Gras Velvet Voodoo Dunkel Dark Lager from Faubourg Brewing in New Orleans. Darn good. Mine's already gone.
Ferris got his Latan quote.
You tell me when to stop.
Stop. It's always dangerous when they're off the hip like this.
Oh, this is a good one. I haven't even seen the quote, but it is Latan considers playing in the U.S., which he did at some
of course.
But well before that. I've traveled around like Napoleon and conquered every new country where I've set foot. So perhaps I should do what Napoleon didn't and cross the Atlantic and conquer the states as well. And I'll be damned, he did.
All for designated player money.
Amazing. Well, follow us, thebrutifulgame.com, on the Twitters or X, whatever, Facebooks, yada, yada. Big thing is always just Untapped. We're always sharing our beers and stuff on there. Give a review of the pod if you don't mind. Tell your friends and family about us. Let us know if you get a review on the pod. We'll get you, some fun out in the mail to you.
Your grandma's, damn it.
That's right. You gotta talk about the grandmas. We are trying to increase the grandma quotient here for the Brewtiful Game. And by goodness, they love us. We know they do. We just need more of them to listen. Yes. And then wait, because I did not have a good one. So I have entered into the dadjokegenerator.com to see what it gave me.
All right.
Why did the... yeah.
Sorry. Real quick. Ron is a dad now. So there might have to be some dad jokes from Ron every now and again.
Oh, no. Four.
Every now and again.
Absolutely sure. For sure. So why did the cowboy come into town with a wiener dog? Someone told him to get along, little doggy. Get along, little doggy. A long little doggy.
Just type something in there to the generator.
There we go. That's what I was waiting for. Hey, why did the mermaid wear seashells? She grew out of her bee shells. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Brewtiful Game. Try the veal. We'll be playing.
Serious, Clark?
I think some Rodney Dangerfield over
the
here.
carpet stone in my head in the morning. I wouldn't be more surprised right now.
Love the beer. Cherish the game, gentlemen. The Brewtiful Game.